All right, you all, I am back. It's been a while. Let's see, I'm gonna make sure I'm going live on StreamYard. So give me a moment, but I wanted to come to you all. I've been kind of busy and traveling, but I wanted to go ahead and do a live stream today and talk about some things that are happening in our politics, right? Of course, we just want to make sure we're talking about politics and representing ourselves because we are the media. We don't have a voice in our national media. And we see that has come up, unfortunately, even for the president. They are trying or attempting to silence the president of the United States, or and also basically stifle him and his plan and what he's attempting to do for Americans. So I just wanted to come and speak about some of that and what's been ongoing for us, right? And I say for us, I mean the freedmen and what is happening in our politics because we know I say this, right? I believe that there is a coup d'etat happening in our government from our local, state, and federal levels via the particular party. We already know the Democratic Party is fighting for immigrants. They are not going along with the actual legislation that has been passed, and they are attempting to keep as many of the illegals on the soil. And they think, okay, we can wait it out with the Trump administration or make it very difficult for the Trump administration so we can get back into office. Hence the reason why we've got to talk about the politics, the representation, and the things that we should be receiving. And our representation, it's not there. We know that the majority of the Congressional Black Caucus is immigrants. And so, with that, knowing that fact, we know we don't have representation. We know we have other immigrants speaking on our politics and then speaking as if they are us. That's the crazy part of it. Like they are literally acting and speaking out of turn and speaking as if they are our people. But one of the first things that I want to show on this live before we get into everything, I want to make sure you all know that the video I had prior to this, the last live I had prior to this, YouTube did restrict me because I used the video. I thought it was a beautiful video showing the Jesse White tumblers. So it screwed up my last live, just an FYI. So, if you go out on the Freedman channel and you notice that the last one, you're not able to listen to it or it has some hiccups in it, I had to edit. And when I edited, I don't know what happened. Maybe that's them being able to address if I'm editing or not. But there were some issues. So with that, just to let you all know, I was flagged by YouTube for that video. And I thought it was the most beautiful thing, but they said it's a global copyright. So with that, anyway, I do want to share my screen and I do want you all to listen to what Stephen Miller had to say about the Democratic Party. And I have to agree. I have to Miller and what he's stating because at this point in time, it is obvious to me, and I hope it's obvious to others, that there is something really wild happening in our government. And in that is, I've been saying it, it's a coup d'etat. It's a coup d'etat happening in our federal government, and it's coming from the federal level, and it's going to go all the way down to our state and local levels. So we're going to listen to what Stephen Miller has to say about the Democratic Party, and we're going to get into it because we have to know the importance and understand the importance of voting in the midterms and who we're voting for in the midterms. We have to be very and aware, conscious of what we're doing when we go to vote in the midterms. Now, I've heard about some other beings that are supposedly us. They are running under Democrat, under the Democratic Party. And I think if we continue to support the Democratic Party at this point in time, after all the years that they could have supported us and passed specific legislation for us, they told us that we had to join with others. Did they not? I do believe that was the major thing. They told us we had to join with others. Let me see if this works on my screen. And so with that, when we're having to join with others, that means that we get nothing. And that is, to me, when I look at it and I hear those words now, that's saying to me, we want you all to give up your resources to all of the immigrants, right? We can't put ourselves first and prioritize ourselves as Americans. We now have to include them in everything that we do. That doesn't make any sense, does it? Hence the reason they did, and that to me is socialism. That's to me is attempting to get us to buy into socialism. And we are a distinct, unique ethnic group and founding population of Americans. There's no reason why we should be joining others. We should be at the top of the hierarchy. We've been written into the Constitution from the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments. That we've already done the work, and we should be reaping the rewards and benefits, the opportunities and things of that nature, right? But now you're telling me that an immigrant, legal or illegal, can come to this country. They don't have to do anything for this country. We know they're not assimilating into American ideals, right? Or American ideology, because they're waving their flags on our soil. So to me, we are in a space where we have a lot of domestic terrorists. Hence the reason they are saying that this is a nation built by immigrants. So anyway, let me share my screen and we're going to get into it, because this to me is wild. To the fact that we have in this day and time, we have individuals that now want us to believe or try to make us believe that we can't get any legislation specifically for ourselves and our people when we are the Americans. So let me see. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing and I'll reshare for something that was sharing on StreamYard. Let me see, and I'll reshare because let's see. I'm gonna do it this way. Let's see if it works this way. I'm gonna try a new way of doing this and see if it works. And but again, no way that should be subjugating ourselves for immigrants to come take all the resources and take over America. I've been having these discussions with individuals. I tried to step out and have discussions with beings that are not of our collective. It's not going too well because I think a lot of them feel entitled. And I'm like, how do you feel entitled to something you didn't build, you didn't create, right? And so I'm like, at this point, we have really got to focus on ourselves. Let me stop sharing here. There is something going on. I tried to do a different screen over here on StreamYard, but I don't think that's going to work. So let's see. Let's do it a different way. See if it works. And we'll play this, and I want you all to hear what Stephen Miller has to say because he's really on point. I agree with what he's saying. He's not lying. We can see it. And we we have to address these issues in our politics. So let's see if I can get this video going and you can hear what he has to say. I wanted to make it big. Here,
Yorkers devised a scheme, fly and then to escort them in mass. Is it for your audience perfectly, Sean? This was not a loophole. The Biden administration, Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas, devised a scheme to fly illegal aliens into the country and then to escort them in mass across the border by the millions, and to give them something known as parole, which gives them a work permit, which gives them a social security number, which gives them access to the voting booth. This was the plan all along, to get them here illegally so they can get free government benefits, get hooked, and be able to participate in American elections. This was an attack on democracy by the Democrat Party. It's the same attack that we see, Sean, when you have California, a sanctuary state, that is refusing to turn over even illegal alien criminals and gang members to ICE. So these are illegal aliens in California who have been arrested by California police, by California law enforcement for serious crimes, for crimes against children, for felonies, for crimes that threaten public safety, and they are refusing to hand these criminal illegal aliens over to ICE. Instead, they're freeing them back into the cities to offend and offend again. By any definition, what California is doing is criminal. It is a violation of our laws. It is one of the most heinous things that I have seen in my entire. Is it for your audience perfectly, Sean?
I'm going to stop that. It was looping again. And I'm going to also go into where we're going to talk about the fraud, but I'm starting out with the voting because I want you all to see that we already know this is kind of the plan, right? To get them to vote, to keep them in power. And so if we, in this moment right now, knowing that this is what the plan is, why in the world would we go into midterms and vote for any Democrat? Now, unfortunately, we have our Black leader. You already know, I call him leader shit, that is in office, and they're going along with the plan. At some point in time, you all, we're going to have to hold them accountable. I keep hearing everybody want to circumvent holding these beings accountable. But you did, many of us, let's say, are in their areas and voted for them. One on the list is Jim Clyburn. And his daughter is running as well for office. So that apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. You will not get anything different from the daughter, right? Because the daughter is really nepotism. The daughter is going to do exactly what her father wants her to do. She's going to be calling her father, "Oh, Dad, what should I do in this situation? Because you've been here before." Right? And what do you think that information is going to look like? It's not going to prioritize you all. It won't prioritize us, the freedmen. The man won't even say the term, won't even mention freedmen. Right? So we have got to be smart as we continue to move in our politics. Now, I'm a major advocate of Dr. Claude Anderson. I've read Powernomics. I don't know if you all have read Powernomics, but I encourage you to go read Powernomics. Dr. Claude Anderson was a part of the United States government in the different capacities. Right, with one former president, the late, great Jimmy Carter. And then we have him also working in state on a local level or state level on education. Now, why in the world are we not listening to an elder that knows the insides workings of our government and how they move? Now, we have those right now that know the inside working of the government. And what are they doing for you? Even after you gave them your vote. Oh, you know what? We're going to have to pull up the video. And before we get into some other things, I want to pull up the video of Biden and what he said in his NAACP meeting. Right? You all remember that? I'll go back to it. I'll bring it back to you all so you can hear it from the horse's mouth. They are now attempting to make sure every other demographic come into America and rolling out the red carpet for them after our ancestors had to fight for what is theirs. We are still another generation attempting to fight for what it is or for what is ours that our ancestors have already worked for. They already put the work ethic in. They already fought for this country, to support this country, to save this country from the from the cancers, right? They've been fighting. We've been fighting for certain things that are natural to humans, humanity, food, shelter, clothing, right? All of these things we're still having to fight for, while others can come here along with jobs and opportunities. And others are coming here and receiving everything off of our backs. And then they expect us to think we're going to just go around and act like something's wrong with us, that we're not capable. Do you all not see that? They're trying to act like we aren't capable beings when it's the third worlders. It's the immigrants coming here that aren't the ones that are not capable, because their countries, if they were really capable and so great, they wouldn't be leaving their countries, because their countries will be built up, economically viable. They wouldn't be coming to America working for pennies on the dollar and then try to tell us that we lazy. We had ancestors in 240 years, 250 years of slavery, you all. Come on now. And we have all of these inventions and innovations. So why in the world would we be listening to immigrants, legal or illegal, coming to America, talking crazy to us on our soil? Again, waving their flags on our soil. To me, that's already stating you're an enemy and we need to get down. Oh, okay, I'm gonna get to this other clip with Joe Biden where he told you better get ready to get under these immigrants. And we had in this meeting, let me see. Let me go back. I want to name them. I want to name these beings in this meeting, because you know what? This is the Black leadership. This is the Black leadership that we need to be holding accountable. When are we going to do it? When are we going to start speaking out and making sure the Trump administration knows we do not align with what is happening with these beings, and that we as the grassroots, the real Black American Negro freedmen, are standing with the Trump administration and getting rid of all of these immigrants, all of them at this point in time. All of them need to go to me, illegal and illegal, or they need to be prosecuted. They need to be prosecuted. I'm all for prosecuting them. I don't care. Come on now, Trump. I support him. Get them all. Barack Obama, whoever who's a part of it. Get them. Prosecute them. I don't care how old they are. I don't care Maxine Waters is 80-some years old. Get her. Prosecute her. Take their money, put it back into the government, because all of it is about fraud. Hello, everyone. Okay, I see y'all over here. Okay. All right. I see you in the chat. Yeah, he said in the debate he was going to commit the biggest voter fraud. Yeah, we got to get Jasmine. We got to make sure the people know that we don't align with what is happening with Black leadership today. We have got to be very boisterous, and I'm gonna say loud. We can be loud. This is a time to be loud in our politics, you all. This is the time, because how in the world is it now? Our 14th Amendment. I'm still reeling off of that opinion that they ruled on, right, with Trump. Now he's appealing it, and I'm happy that he is. And I do believe that they're going to have to hear it again. And because I think I read it takes one justice to say, yes, I do want to, I do agree they should appeal, or they are willing to hear the appeal. And in the appeal, they can come from a different angle than what they did initially with the domicile and the jurisdiction, which I hope the Trump administration would just go straight for the gusto now. Hey, the 14th Amendment, which Trump was saying, right? We know Trump has been saying the 14th Amendment is for, he says, the babies of slaves or the descendants of the formerly enslaved. Now, I would love to get to him and make sure he understands the term freedman, because that's what freeman is, right? And the fact that when you look at the Constitution, you look at the Emancipation Proclamation, and then that generates the 13th Amendment, then that generates the 14th Amendment, and then you generate the 15th Amendment. You see how all of these are initiated because of the Civil War, in which our ancestors, free and enslaved, fought for our freedom, or fought for their freedom, fought for our people, their descendants. And those amendments to the Constitution are for us specifically, not for two illegals to come here and have a baby on the soil, and those illegals' children are all of a sudden citizens. You all, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. So how in the world, you can just take a part of these amendments out of the Constitution and use them for immigrants? You see what I'm saying? Oh, okay. Let me look in my chat before we go to the clip. I see you all. Okay. Hi, Brooke. How you doing? B. Sinclair, billionaire. Hello. Cherry Red Zone. I see you. These Caribbean Americans get into these positions of influence and exploit the Black term and undermine American law. Their goal is to ruin America, because they come from socialist nations. They don't know anything about capitalism or how America runs. We do, right? And they've been keeping us from our rightful position and being in this hierarchy in our country, on our soil. And in the Caribbeans, we know that they are from these socialist nations, and they align with a lot of these immigrants. They align with the Africans. All of these immigrants are coming together to go against us because they are part of the coup d'etat. Now, I'll get into it, but we have our office. They have offices of New Americans. Where's our office of Bureau of Freedmen Affairs when you have the Native tribes that also have the Bureau of Indian Affairs? We have the 14th Amendment, but somehow we keep getting skipped. Or if we got to keep fighting every freaking generation for something that is ours, that our ancestors already fought for. We're ancestral. We're kindred to this land. The Caribbeans are not. They're trying to get, now here's the plan that I see with the Caribbeans, right? The Democratic Party is bringing them in under the term Black because they want them to rule over us and make us a permanent underclass in our country. And they have already exemplified that they'll go along with this plan of the Democratic Party. It's obvious, right? Hakeem Jeffries is part Cape Verdean. He is not full-fledged freedman. Many in the CBC, Yvette Clarke, I featured her. She doesn't want to hear the truth that the majority of Black Americans, almost 80%, do not align with immigrants, illegals voting in these elections. but they're trying to get us to succumb and align with their plan. And they think we're dumb. That's what angers me. You really think we're dumb when we're the ones that built this, developed it, and have all of these innovations, but we're dumb. We're the dumb. But you know what? I'm gonna reel it back, because I hear a lot of times, right? They think because we were slaves, we're not capable. Yeah. Oh yeah, the Latinos, but nothing's here. This is what I'm saying. I see you, B. Sinclair, future billionaire. The Latinos told us it's their turn to rule. There's nothing here for them to attach to, right? This is not their ancestral land. They're not included in the Constitution. They have to be naturalized. They have not put any work into America to demand anything. No contributions, no innovations, and they may have fought in a couple of wars, right? I see you, Cherry Red Zone. I don't know why Black Americans are scrutinizing Trump and he is defending us. It makes no sense. You don't have to be pro-Trump and Republican. You are correct. You are correct. This is our line of defense. We have a sitting president that is literally saying Americans first. And when we look at Americans first, who's Americans first, you all? To me, Americans first means freedmen first. You cannot separate us from being the first. We the first in everything here. Yeah, I said everything. I'm claiming everything too. But anyway, we are the first. We're the first Americans, a founding population, right? And what I mean by that, the native tribes were not officially American citizens until 1924. They did not have a hand in building America on the scale that we have done, right? We know that they, even the Cherokee chief stated that we even built their reservations. Hence the reason why their reservations look the way they do today. Y'all feel me? Go ahead, Miss Cherry. I see you. When you see they're experiencing personally, they get into state government jobs that undermine the laws to protect criminal immigrants. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They've been. Have you all noticed how much? We're going to get into it. Have you noticed how much fraud every time you turn around? Even our state, right now in the state of Tennessee, there's warnings about receiving these letters. Claiming that, the state will do certain things with your, if you don't pay your citations, your tickets and things of that nature. Like the fraud in America, to me, since the immigrants have come here in an influx, has skyrocketed. And we have new technology that supposedly alleviates this. So that lets you know it's them on the inside. Right? It wasn't us in these positions, and then there was a lot of fraud. Can't say that. Cannot say that. But you can now look at how they have been placed in technology over our people, and then you have all the fraud. Receiving all of our data, all of our information, and now every time you turn around, there's a freaking scam going on, and you can guarantee it's some immigrants, legal or illegal. It's off the charts. So we got to call a thing a thing. And I understand there's a lot happening with our youth, and then we are attempting to support them and protect them. But you all, a part of that is we got to call out Black leadership. They have helped to destroy our communities, and they are helping to destroy our youth. They want to destroy our youth. They want to destroy our culture. They want to destroy us as a people because we are the Americans. And we are the next to really rule America, because it's evident that the white power structure has failed, right? The white race has failed in America, in ruling America. We see, and we know they done failed in Europe. Isn't Europe on fire right now? Europe is falling. Now, I agree. I agree with Trump about us separating from Europe. We should have been. What we fight these wars for, Revolutionary War for, and you still got ties to Europe. What sense does that make? Why are we their first line of defense for wars? So, you know, I'm not going to talk about Iran right now. I'm going to hold the Iran discussion to later. I do want to see how it plays out. But you know what? At the end of the day, even with that, with Trump going over to Iran, I look at it like this. He's already getting rid of an enemy that we're not going to have to deal with later on. Go ahead and let him do what he got to do. That's where I'm at. And then on top of that, it's going to show those that are on this soil, those from the Muslim nations, that we don't play around. So you can't come over here and think you're going to make America a place where you can dictate as well. No, not happening. So he's doing work for us. So, okay, let's get into it. I think I'm going to start it. He's talking about here. Someone said he did say he was going to talk about the voting fraud. We're going to start right here at 4139, where he's talking about President Trump. And we're going to go with that. Hold on. I'm going to make sure we're at the right place. And then I'm going to start it. Let me share my screen. And we're just going to listen to what Biden was saying in that meeting. Mind you, this is black leadership. They don't push back. They let him talk to them like anything. So they think they can talk to the rest of them like that. I see it quite often. I'm not the one. You're not going to talk to me in kind of way and disrespectfully. But you know, we're not, see, they don't have people like us in these spaces because they already know how we gonna respond, right? They already know we don't play. So the FBI needs to investigate the emergency response team of my city's police department. I think, I mean, they're putting immigrants. I just saw in New York, they're putting more immigrants of Madani, right? The women are wearing the habibs. Y'all, okay? No. You're on the police force. If you're on the police force in a habib, that doesn't make any sense to me. Why are you on the police force in a habib, a hijab, or whatever? Because that, to me, we don't know what you got going on. We got to be able to see you. They're complaining about the mask that ICE wears, but you got female police officers wearing habibs, and then on top of that, y'all know when you go through the airport, they patting us down for our hair and everything else. Y'all know that, right? So no, they should not be able to wear them while they're on duty. I'm sorry, that's not American. That's not how we roll around here. So then they say, oh, that's because of their religion. Well, guess what, y'all? Guess what we should do? We should make sure that we, not only, whether you're Christian or whatever, let's start making sure that we implement some things that we say is our religion. What they gonna do then? And you know, one of the first things we can do and say it's our religion, our hair, how we wear, and what we do. We can wear, put on a hat. We want to wear our hats, right? Whatever. Let's counter this stuff. Okay, I was waiting for this to come up on YouTube. Let's see. I want you all to be able to see it. Of course, I can see it on my machine on YouTube, but on my other machine. Okay, it's up. It's up. Okay, let's listen to this clip or these clips with Biden talking about that meeting with the NAACP. Let's listen to it, because we've got to start holding this Black leadership accountable. There's no way around it. Okay, let me start here. Let's go.
Actions is a reversal of the executive order that President Trump promulgated that essentially seeks to gag conversations about diversity, race, and history among anyone who contracts with the federal government. The Legal Defense Fund of my organization filed suit. We represent the National Urban League in challenging that executive order. Already it's having an effect on so many who feel silenced in this period and who feel fearful of talking about race. And so when you reverse that executive order, and I know that you will, it's going to be important for you also to articulate why you are reversing that executive order, to demonstrate and to talk about how much this administration welcomes the opportunity to talk about race and indeed encourages Americans to grapple with the difficult issues of our racial history and of racial injustice and lingering.
Okay, so I'm stopping it here, you all, to highlight how the immigrants are using our plight and race, which we know race in America was constructed to specifically harm freedmen. Because that doesn't, I mean, literally the 14th Amendment, we had the Civil Rights Act of 1866. Also, there's a Civil Rights Act of 1871. This is not Caribbeans or Africans or Filipinos or Chinese. None of these other immigrants via race was even, were these acts even created for. Okay? Because they're not Americans. Point blank, period. They're not Americans. They're Chinese still came here in 1863, 1865, right before we were emancipated. They still are immigrants to me forever. You wasn't here building for 200 some years prior to America becoming a nation. 1776, we were still enslaved, still here building. No Chinese on this soil. Okay? So let's get back to it.
Discrimination. But I really want to focus on just a couple of things. I think most of what has been said about voting needs to be said. I just want to add one thing. So LDF is a civil rights litigating organization, and we have been on the ground every year in elections. And I can tell you that I first joined the Legal Defense Fund as a young lawyer in 1988. I hate dating myself like this, but this is a close to the press call, and so I'm going to do it. And so I have been working on voting rights issues for a very long time, 30 years. And I have never seen the level of voter intimidation that we saw in this election. And so when we talk about activating the Department of Justice, when we talk about Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, that's all very important. But we're seeing something we have never seen in most of our lifetimes, which is active and aggressive physical voter intimidation. Exactly right. That harkens back to the 1960s. We filed a suit under Section 11B of the Voting Rights Act against the current president, Mr. Trump, for his efforts to threaten and coerce officials in Michigan to try and change their vote and disenfranchise the votes of.
Okay, I'm stopping it again. This is what's her name? Okay, Shirlene Eiffel. Okay, she is immigrant, Caribbean. I have to put that out there. She is not our people. And I do believe she is the relative of Gwen Eiffel. Let me make sure. Yes. So both of them are cousins. Okay, it says their fathers were brothers who immigrated to the United States from Barbados. Okay? Right? They're from Barbados. These are not our people. These are not our people. They don't know. She found paperwork against Trump or whatever. She can't speak for us. Disenfranchising voters in Michigan. We're going to get to how many states don't want to turn over their voter rolls, and they have basically allowed illegal aliens to vote. We already knew this was going on, right? Now the evidence is coming out because the Trump administration said, hold up, we want your voter rolls. We're going to go through them and see and make sure who are legal citizens and who are not legal citizens. They're finding all kinds of illegals have been voting in our elections. They are also deporting some of them now. They're making sure that if they find that they're in fraud in any way, shape, form, or fashion, forget your naturalization. They're denaturalizing and they're deporting. This is the type of work we need to need done in our communities, in our government, because this is how far it's gone. It is a coup d'etat. I'll get back to it.
Black voters in Detroit. I don't think we have ever filed an 11B action under the Voting Rights Act in the years that I have been litigating in this space. So it's going to be important to have an aggressive Justice Department engaged around voting, not just in the ways that we did before in the 90s and in the early aughts, but we're going to have to look back at some of the old ways that we had to address voter intimidation. And this again requires your voice. People need to understand that this is anti-democratic, that when they threatened the Secretary of State of Michigan, when they threatened the Attorney General of Michigan, when they threatened the governor of Michigan, that these are anti-democratic acts, and particularly when they're involved with the issue of voting. I'm glad that Benita mentioned HR 1. To be honest with you, HR 4 is not enough anymore. Pre-clearance is not enough. We now need to really address voting in a way that broadens our democracy. We need to return voting to formerly incarcerated persons in federal elections. We need to have Election Day be a national holiday. We need to make sure that states are fully funded.
Okay, so she's saying all of this, right? And we are seeing how they are taking voting and they're really making it for the illegals to vote. They're saying it as if, oh, you know what? We got to go back to this 1960 Voting Rights Act. Here's a part of it. They say there's an assault on the Black vote and voting rights across the nation. When has Trump stifled Black Americans from voting during his first term? Did Trump? Yes, Trump is right on time. I see you, Miss Cherry Red Zone. He is right on time. Because Kamala would have had the Bajiks around here claiming they were Black. Y'all know that was her plan, right? They were going to have these Bajiks around here claiming they're Black. Because she claiming she Black. Right? So I want to get to Biden, though. Let me get to the Biden and what he has to say. I thought I had, let's see. I think I have him. Let's get to, I want to see, I want you all to hear repeat of what Biden had to say about our people and what we were going to have to do with these immigrants. Because he bringing in all these immigrants. Yes, he did say he was going to bring them in and we were going to have to work with them. Did he not? And they keep talking about the Civil Rights Act. Let's see. I think it was 114. Let me get to it. Diversity in hiring. We know that DEI stands for all of those immigrants coming in under white or whatever else. DEI was nothing for us. When you look at the breakdown of the stats, there was nothing for us in DEI. Okay, so he talks to, here we go, we're going to get to this. He talks to Cedric, right? That's his right-hand man. He's talking to Cedric. And we know Cedric is part of Black leadership.
Not only that, within the White House as well. Cedric is the best. Cedric's been with me from the beginning. And Cedric is going to be overseeing a great deal of this, and not all his responsibility, but he's in every single meeting. He's an assistant to the president. He's in every single meeting in the White House, period.
Okay, I just want to point this out. He just said he is an assistant to the president. He's in every meeting, but Cedric has not said anything or done anything for Black Americans. Let's just highlight that, right? This is why we have to hold Black leadership accountable. You have beings that are close to these presidents, close to these administrations that will not speak specifically on anything for us. I was at the White House and President Trump called out this man by the name of Bruce Lavelle. He said, "Ooh, Bruce is a friend of mine. Bruce never asked me for anything." Mind you, he works a part of, I think, now it may be SBA or in agriculture. But, I think it's SBA. We don't get any responses from these beings. They don't even come to get out in the community. They won't even talk to the grassroots. So just like you have them on the Democrat side, you got them on the Republican side. So again, we've got to start holding these beings accountable. And for me at this point in time, we got to start somewhere, but we got to do it now. And also, as we move forward, we've got to be very boisterous, bold, loud for the Trump administration in expressing what it is that we want for our people. And we should be able to get any and everything we want. But let's go back to it.
Period. And so what we're going to be doing here is making sure that we have diverse hiring, not only and for the main cabinet position and the sub-cabinet positions, but down the line. It's going to make a big difference, and within the White House as well. Assistant to the president, there's only 6 of those slots.
He chose immigrants to be in these positions. You go back and look, a majority of them are immigrants in these positions. Just like the press secretary, she was Haitian. The treasurer was African. That's his diversity. His diversity wasn't about working with Black Americans other than the ones that are already at the table with him. But we're going to keep the rest of them out. The diversity is we're going to bring in all the other immigrants, right, under DEI.
It matters. And by the way, I think you're going to see, I always kid Kamala by say this, but we're going to have more women than men, as it's looking like now. Okay, that's good because I'm surrounded by women smarter than me, starting off with my wife and my sister. But all kidding aside, this is going to be fully across the board. I'm going to keep the commitment that I said. And here's the thing. And Reverend Al, I think you're right about this. It matters what a president says. And if you notice, I am not mincing my words when I speak about what I plan on doing as president of the United States. The only thing I'm not doing is I'm not engaging in retribution. I am not deciding that the way to win is to go after hate with hate. We have to convince people. We have to move them. And one of the overwhelming reasons I won, by the way, is because we took on racism in suburbia.
Did he really win? Did he really win, you all? Right? That's a question. And right now, the Trump administration is showing us he didn't really win that election. Because guess what? Illegals voted. They allowed illegals to vote in these elections. So he didn't win this election. But let's keep going.
White women overwhelmingly voted with me, and Black women were the 2 places where it was overwhelming because we spoke to those concerns. And Vanita, You know what I'm talking about. You and I have talked before. I don't carry around a stamp on my head saying progressive and I'm AOC, but I have more of a record of getting things done in the United States Congress than anybody you know. Anybody you know of getting things accomplished. And that sounds so self-serving. I know that. But this is going to really be hard. This is going to really, really, really be hard. And let me conclude and turn it over to Kamala, who says, what the hell am I doing with this guy right now? But all kidding aside, I've known you my whole life, most of you. I've worked with you my whole life, most of you. I've been around doing this for a long, long time.
You heard that. He's been working most of his life with them. They know him. You heard it from the horse's mouth. You see, you keep hearing it from them that they know these beings because they've been working with them. Same thing over there on the Trump side. Okay? Black leadership is not speaking up on either side. Go ahead. Let's listen.
I don't always get it right, but I always take responsibility. When I get it wrong, I acknowledge I got it wrong. But my overarching objective, if we cannot make significant progress on racial equity, this country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. Hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics, who make up a larger portion of the population than y'all do in terms of raw numbers.
Now, okay, he's already configured that's going to happen. How in the world is he now saying that the Hispanics are going to be the largest portion of the population than us? Because that's the plan. They've been working it that way because they're closer to European ancestry than us, right? Even though we have European ancestry, we know that they'll get down because, you know what, they're part European or they're aligned with Europeans. They have that same mindset, that same mentality. And so he is literally saying that he's going to help them come in here and rule over us in our country. Mind you, they are not Americans. They're immigrants. And then they're allowing them to vote in elections already. Just take what he's saying here. And then what we're experiencing right now, where they're trying to say, oh, the Hispanic and Latinos are a larger group, a number of you all are Black Americans. No, they're not. They're grouping all of them under Hispanic and Latino. And at the same time, they can use race, you all. They can say, I'm Black, Hispanic, or Latino. I am white, Hispanic, and Latino. Do you all see where I'm going? So then they can overcome and still be in our numbers as Black in the racial construct. And then, mind you, they're not Americans. I am not going to say any immigrants that are just coming to this soil and haven't been here nor contributed to America are Americans. No, you're not Americans. You're citizens of America, but you're not Americans because the Americans are us, right? So he's telling us that he's giving them the power and the white people are going to succumb and help them get into power in our country. I got something else for you with that Freedmansboro too, but let's listen.
We're going to have to be working with a whole group of people that in fact are the single most diverse democracy in American history and anywhere in the world. And we got to figure out how to unify this country. And you've been the leaders of being able to do that. Not a joke. And so there's some things that I'm going to be able to do by executive order.
All right, you heard him. He's willing to do things by executive order. He's telling our people, our leadership, that don't push back. He just told them that you are going to have to work with immigrants that come here to this country, and we're going to put them in position. That's what I heard. And you need to get ready to get up under them and help them, because we're going to make this a democracy for them. We don't care about you. You going to get under us and do what we say to do and then go from there. Because we already know white people are going to be the minority. So we're going to make the Hispanics and the Latinos the majority and rule over you on your land in your country. And we know why. He's an immigrant too. Right? We know he's an immigrant too. So this is a part of the Black leadership sitting there, not pushing back, and still going along with the plan. Right? So I just wanted to replay that so you all hear it and see how things are working out right now. This is all manifesting, or they're attempting to manifest this goal of making us a permanent underclass in our own country and allow the immigrants to come in and rule over us and then want us to say that they're Americans. No, we're not. No, we're not. We're not doing that. So I'm going to stop sharing that because, again, here we are as the Americans that have been here the longest, done all the work, and they want us to sit back and want people to believe that the slaves were lazy. And for us to believe that we don't have any inheritance on this land, but the Mayflowers and the Wasps got all the money, and they got money and wealth for their next generations. But we're supposed to sit here and be like immigrants. We the immigrants that got a bootstrap, where the immigrants don't have to bootstrap. Y'all see where I'm going? Like, this is just really wild, the insanity, the illogical beliefs that these beings have, and think we're about to go along with it. No, we're gonna have to turn up. And I'm to the point where you think you're gonna come take what's ours and we're not gonna do anything about it? That's some craziness to me. That is really wild and crazy to me. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up another clip where there is this Latino talking about we're not gonna wait. We're not gonna wait. And I'm like, wait for what? Because nothing here is yours. You ain't put no work into anything to be waiting for anything. And this is at the Freedman Forum with Kamala Harris. He says this. But before I get into that, I want to show you where there has been the governor, New York governor, revealing thousands of non-citizens were on the voter rolls. This is just New Jersey, but we already know it's more. I think they found them in Arizona. We know it in California. California right now don't want to release their rolls, or we're gonna look for it. I want to say they didn't want to release it, and they're still not releasing it. So Trump is making sure they're not receiving any federal dollars. Same for Illinois. But let's listen to the press secretary, and she's going to talk about how they're now admitting that New Jersey, has found illegal aliens on the voter rolls. They're finding illegals in everything, right? The fraud is ridiculous. You're going to tell us you don't have no money for reparations, or you can't tell us you don't have any money for our Bureau of Freedmen Affairs. Can't tell us that. The money's there. So let's.
People who support this bill overwhelmingly.
Let me get back to the beginning.
All of a sudden decided to put out a press release. What I will say on New Jersey and this governor, the fact that she just all of a sudden decided to put out a press release saying what I will say on New Jersey.
Okay, let's let the the YouTube catch up. Give me a moment. I just realized the YouTube is not working, so we want it to catch up because I want you all to hear this. Then the New Jersey Sutton. Oh, we found some people on the voter rolls. Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course you did. Is this going to work? My transmission. Let's see. And I think I lost my chat. Are the people still there? Okay, I still see some, I do believe. We are indigenous. We've been here. You're correct. We are indigenous. Especially we're indigenous to the United States of America, home of the brave. We know we're indigenous to the United States of America. So therefore, you know what? No one should question that. He could have disregarded us, Cherry Red Zone, over the 14th Amendment, but he's still fighting. Yes, he is. He's still fighting. He's still going tough. That's why I say he OG Trump. I'm going to give him some props. Yes, Judge Thomas, home of the brave, Judge Thomas is great. He has stood up in these moments, and he said, oh, no, this is not working. I still have not finished his 91-page dissent, but just the fact, I want to even hold a little briefing about that, or do maybe even do a live about it and go over it. Maybe that's what we should do, to go over that 91-page, highlight some things, summarize it, so we can see his viewpoints. He again is stepping up. We see a lot of beings stepping up because I do believe they understand. They can't just say, hey, we in this moment, well, they're saying it. It's just how we interpret it, right? They're saying it. Clarence Thomas has said the progressives are not, their progressivism is not good for America. He has already stated that. I think I played it in one of my lives, or a couple of my lives, where he speaks on that. And I might be able to find him too and put it in here. But he definitely is stepping up. He's definitely stepping up, so the people can understand and know that, hey, we're in a serious place right now in American politics. And it's not playtime. This is not playtime. We've got to step it up. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, let me play this.
And this governor, the fact that she just all of a sudden decided to put out a press release saying President Trump and Republicans have been right about non-citizens on our voting rolls is not a coincidence. I think this governor is saying this because she realizes this administration is serious about getting to the bottom of illegal aliens voting and being on our voter rolls in our country. The Secretary of Homeland Security, as you know, sent a letter to several states, including New Jersey, requesting that non-citizens that are on their voter rolls need to be reported to DHS and need to be removed from those voter rolls. So that's why all of a sudden she is speaking truth about the fact that this does take place in states across the country. It is completely unacceptable to have non-citizens on American voter rolls voting in U.S. elections. And she says it's 6,600. We suspect it's a heck of a lot more, not just in New Jersey, but in states across the country. The president is hell-bent on getting to the bottom of this. And it's also why we need to pass the Save America Act, to ensure that only U.S. citizens are voting in U.S. elections. And I understand the House had a great accomplishment yesterday with passing the budget resolution, which has as much of the Save America Act as possible. And we encourage the Senate to move forward with passing that resolution into law so the president can sign it into law by the August recess. It's of the utmost importance to this president, but also to the American people who support this bill overwhelmingly.
Okay. So there we go. Now it's coming out. So all that Trump was lying, you just heard Biden claim that Trump was lying about the voting. And look at what we're finding out. And that means to me, Biden did not win that election. How could he have won the election if you have illegals voting on a federal level? They're not to vote on a federal, state, and I think they're limited on the local level. And they really shouldn't be voting in anything. They're not citizens, right? So another thing that I wanted to show is that when we talk about the fraud, right? When we speak about the fraud, there was one particular in HUD housing. Housing is major, right? And here we are. We're always fighting for things that are basic, natural to our human existence in this country. Why are we having to fight for housing, food, and shelter? Because we already did that, right? Well, guess what, you all? Guess what they found out? Oh, hold on. I'll show this clip right here before we get to Scott Turner and what he has found out in HUD and fraud. I want to show this on my screen. This is what Yvette Clarke didn't want to acknowledge about Black Americans talking about voting, right? And believe that a lot of let's see if it's going over here on YouTube. Now, this one is just a general overview of a Fox poll where it says that should photo ID be required to prove U.S. citizenship before being allowed to vote? Now, one of the things we do know is a lot of states were allowing these illegal immigrants to get driver's license. And what do we know about that in the state of Florida? They had their own immigrant family members or someone of the immigrant population that was helping them to receive these driver's license. That's the fraud, you all. Again, these immigrants know how to come scam, but they don't know how to build anything honestly. What's wrong with that? And now they're running for offices, getting into political power. That in itself should be for us saying, oh no. Oh, no. But this is what they're doing. They're running to get into political power to siphon your wealth and your money for them only and their people, which will include fraud. But anyway, I wanted to just show this clip. It's probably not coming up. It looked like it's not coming up on YouTube. It's a little slower transmission. But here it says only American citizens should be voting in American elections and pass the Save America Act. And so the poll is Fox News. And it said, should valid photo be required to prove U.S. citizenship before being allowed to register to vote? And majority of Americans said yes, or even voting, you should have some ID. Now, the 17% on registered to vote, I can't even imagine. They can't be Americans. That's all I'm going to say. And they want us to succumb to their way of life on our soil and try to switch it up. Home of the brave. We are American. The U.S. is an intrusion. That's why Mexico official name is the U.S. of Mexico, because the Spaniards ran the blacks in Mexico out of the land. Oh, okay. I know that they don't even recognize. They just started to recognize their Afro or their African descent individuals over in Mexico. And I think that just happened in 2021. So we already know Mexico and Mexicans and us, we don't get along, right? Ain't no way. But I'm hearing they running folks out of California. We got black folks allowing immigrants to run them out of their homes and their spaces and their neighborhoods. And they're doing it politically. So when people keep saying we don't be politically active, we don't need to do anything politically, or you know what, just set the couch. We can't do that. We cannot afford to be sitting the couch in any elections. We also need to have more of our own running. But again, unfortunately, I'm still hearing that some of our own are running under the Democrats. And that in my mind is like, wow, why? At this point in time, would we still want to run under the Democrat umbrella? And then if you think you're going to win because you have, I guess, that support from the Democrats, from what I understand now, it's just using you as a tool. It's obvious they're just using you as a tool because you can't speak up for Black Americans, right? You can't speak on an agenda specifically for Black Americans. It has to include the immigrants so that you can place them above us. That's what I'm hearing that is happening in the Democratic Party. So let me find the video with Scott Turner and what he found with the fraud in HUD. And wait till you all hear this. I mean, like, this is wild. All of this to me is just really crazy. And here we are in this moment in time. We are still going in circles, the patterns of behaviors, right? Because we got individuals or beings that don't want to stand up with the our people, and we're the Americans, and everything here is ours. I will keep saying it. Everything here is ours. It is not for them. They put no work into it, none whatsoever. Okay. Here we go. Let me share this. Because you all, this is some craziness right here. All the way in the Virgin Islands. Everybody knows scamming and fraud, but we're tagged and stereotyped as the ones that steal. Y'all help me out. Because I'm seeing a lot are stealing. They've been stealing too. Right? They've been stealing. But they don't want you all to know this because we are the scapegoat. They want us to be the scapegoat. Let me see. Okay, let's see if it's up. I'm going to wait a minute, give it a little time to go over here on the YouTube channel, the transfer. And then we're going to listen to what Scott Turner says about you all, they scamming in disaster relief funds. We know FEMA, that happened with FEMA. But he's finding out that it's also happening over in Los Angeles with the Virgin Islands officials. Here we go. Oh, okay. I'm waiting for it to come up. Let's see. My live is a little on YouTube. It's a little delayed. But we're going to play this and listen to what Scott Turner found. There was illegals on the rolls or in housing. We already knew that, right? We knew they were giving them Section 8, giving them all kinds of housing, and our people were being kicked off of Section 8, giving it to the illegals. And who are they giving it to? The majority of these illegals are Hispanics and Latinos. Because how are their numbers increasing and they haven't had babies here on the soil? Just like that, right? All of a sudden, they're the new minority group, but you're not. No, you can never be us. They're not Americans. They're immigrants. Okay. Can you all, if you're still, oh, there it is. Let's listen. It just came up. Let's go with this.
And thanks to the tireless efforts of our acting Inspector General, Brian Harrison, and his team, we are exposing and weeding out waste across the country. OIG's audits have exposed unbelievable examples. Money that should have supported the most vulnerable, homeless Americans in Los Angeles instead allegedly supported the purchase of a $125,000 Range Rover, private jet travel, and a vacation home in Greece that cost almost $500,000. This is HUD funded. That's supposed to go to our homeless neighbors and friends and to help communities recover. But it was wasted, and even worse, paid off crooked officials. No longer would that be tolerated. Are you with me? From Los Angeles to the Virgin Islands, we're sending a clear message. Corruption of federal funds will no longer stand. From now on, tax dollars should be invested to produce real results, not wasted to appease the status quo. How many know status quo is not good enough for any of us, and particularly for the people that we serve? HUD is executing.
Okay. You all, they are finding all kinds of fraud, even in every department. And here we are, we got homeless people. Y'all hear me? We got homeless people. Our people are homeless in California. From San Francisco, from what I understand, to Los Angeles. In this day and time, the most wealthiest nation in the world, in which our ancestors and elders have helped to build, develop, and advance, we're homeless. It pisses me off. It pisses me off. That don't make any sense. And then some immigrants that have not contributed anything to this country is taking over our land, our homes, our communities, and bringing in gangs and drugs, pedophiles and rapists, criminals. And we got Black leadership sitting there allowing it to happen. Yeah. When are we going to pick it up, you all? We got to start picking it up. We got to start making it known to them. We are not aligning with you and your bullshit. Because how in the world, in this day and time in 2026, you all? Come on now. Come on. Woo! I mean, like, we got to do better for our people. We got to do better for ourselves. We got to do better for our children. There's no way in this day and time for us to have all. Now, I've heard in Skid Row in California, some of those people have degrees that are working and they can't afford to live in a home. That's crazy. And then they can't afford to live in a home because of cost of living. But the immigrants get to come here and they just got here. And they got homes. They got our neighborhoods. Okay. Here we go with another one. Election fraud. Guess where this one is? Atlanta, Georgia. Well, we already knew Georgia had some issues because I did engage with some of the individuals from the GOP in Georgia that made sure that they filed their claim in the Georgia Supreme Court or the Georgia courts, and they appealed and won. But again, we got ballots in Fulton County election fraud. And what are we hearing about Atlanta right now? And that's Black leadership. That's Black leadership, right? Who Who's running for governor of Atlanta right now? And we already know that what she's going to do is not going to do anything for the Black folks of Atlanta, for the Black American freedmen in Atlanta. What's her name? Keisha Bottoms. Isn't she running for governor? You have Black leadership all throughout Atlanta. And what is happening in Atlanta? It's been overrun right now, from what I understand, with immigrants. Mexicans, Africans, everybody but us. Atlanta used to be a major Black metropolitan city. From what I'm hearing, it is no longer that. Let's look it up. Is Atlanta, what is the demographic of Atlanta right now? I want to say it had dropped below. Yep. It has dropped below. At one point in time, I know Atlanta, Georgia was at least 76% Black American. Right? Now I'm hearing people were saying it's dropping. You got a lot of immigrants coming there. And here, I'm going to share my screen because you know what? It has dropped. As it is now only 46% Black American. Come on, y'all. And it holds over 6.4 million people, ranking as the 6th largest metropolitan area in the United States. This is what's happening all around the nation. And we got our own Black leadership making sure it happens. Working with the Democratic Party to make it happen. So this is what I'm talking about. We got to make sure we hold them accountable. We have to make sure we hold them accountable. I'm all for prosecution. Whomever Trump finds that I perceive that it's going to start from the top. And we got to get into it before I get ready to shut down. It's got to start from the top, and it's going to trickle all the way down to our state and local offices, where we're going to see all of this come together and how they are working from every angle to try to take over America and make it a socialist country. And they're making sure that the immigrants get into positions. Because guess what? They're going to hold and toe line. So there you go. Atlanta. Atlanta, Georgia is now 46%. That's under 50%. And it used to be over 70%. So, and we already know we have individuals that have been in power in Atlanta, Georgia, and all of this has been under their watch. And they played along with it. They played along with it because they're a part of the Democratic Party. We can no longer do this, you all. We cannot no longer be foolish and allow these beings to continue to dictate our politics to us. We have got to step it up. And I mean, when I say we got to step it up, we got to, when we go to these meetings, these city council meetings, we got to be able to let them know we don't align with this. Right? We have got to make sure our voices are being heard, that this is what we want for ourselves, has nothing to do with anybody else, because we have every right to self-determination and our pursuit of happiness and our property. We got Scott Turner. He's still, here's another one, but it's only 36 seconds. But I just wanted to highlight how much fraud is happening in our society. And a lot of it And a lot of it is because the Democratic Party is fraudulent. Now, I'm not going to say the Republican Party ain't either, because the Uniparty, they're helping. Some of them are working along with, right? But at the end of the day, right now, I can see the Republican Party is, majority of them at least are on the American train. Democrat Party is not. It's gone. We need to demolish it. It's evident. We have voted for the Democratic Party. We've been loyal to the Democratic Party. What do we have to show for anything? What do we have? Why are we still fighting for the basics of what is ours in our country? We've already done this. How many times do you have to keep fighting for what is yours? Like, let's be real about this. Let's think about it, you all. We're the only ones targeted. We're the only ones, every time you turn around, it's our community, red line, gerrymandering, taking our property. But every time, we need your vote. We need your Black Americans to do this. You know, I was in a space the other day with some white people, and I told them, no, we ain't fighting. Y'all the majority. Get your butts out there. You have a problem with us fighting for what's ours. You have a problem with us existing in our country. You have a problem with us speaking our truth. Get on out there. Get on out there and do that work. We're not your mules. Because we're going to get what's ours. And we're going to do it by making sure we address it with President Trump. At the end of the day, you cannot, in this moment, allow immigrants to come in this country that have contributed nothing and say that, you know what, you got to work hard. You got to work for what you want. Wait a minute. We've been working for everything we got. And we ain't got shit. Because guess what? You all keep taking what is ours. And then we got Black leadership that allows you to do it after we vote for them. Like, this is not adding up. I'm sorry, I keep repeating that, but let me go to Trump and what is happening on the fraud. Trump and Chicago. But I'm going to keep harping on the fact that they always telling us we're lazy and we're not doing things. But when you look at our history and you compare everything we've done, there's no reason for us to still have to work for what's ours, you all. It don't make any sense. And don't let them tell you that. Do not allow them to spew that BS to you. Because at the end of the day, everything that these beings are getting, it's off of our backs. And our ancestors already said it. Right? We got plenty of ancestors that literally said that immigration is not good for America or our people. And they didn't blunt. They didn't hold back. At one point in time, Frederick Douglass, he was all for immigration. Guess what? He changed that tune. So let me see. Okay, I wanted to show one more, and it's already an hour and a half in the live, and then I'm going to go ahead and get ready to shut it down. But I wanted to show where President Trump is talking about indictments, and these indictments, Nancy Pelosi, Fauci, who else was it? I do believe they're going to do something with Barack Obama. So a lot of these things are coming down the pipeline. And once you go to the top of the food chain, it's going to trickle down. Let me see. What are Trump indictments on Obama? Trump is saying Obama is the one that ushered in all of this. So he's coming for Obama. Y'all get ready. Because we know we got people out here that still believe in Obama when we know Obama didn't do anything for Black Americans. And then literally sat up there and said that he had to be the president for everyone. And then made sure Latinos, DACA, that they just said was unconstitutional. And then also he made sure that the LGBTQ could get married. Did he not? So hold on, let's see. I wanted to, I know, oh, here we go. Okay. They're saying that Obama committed treason by spying on President Trump. Okay. And they supposedly have the intelligence behind it. You know, more and more of this is going to come out. And I do believe he's also targeting Hillary Clinton as well. But let's see. It's not a video. Let's see. It's just a snapshot. I'll just share so you can see. This is huge. And you know, the thing when we look at Trump was saying, check his birth certificate. Let's start there. When Obama was running, Trump was saying, check his birth certificate. And us fell for the okie doke. We fell for the okie doke. Yes, it is the jackass party. You are correct. But this whole Obama thing and how it's playing out, man, this is wild, right? Because Trump has been, I think, trying to warn us the whole time when he was saying, check Barack Obama's birth certificate. And we were like, oh, he's just being racist. He being racist. No, Trump knew some stuff. He knew. So here, let's see. I wanted to come up so you all can see this document that they're saying proves that Barack Obama, through UK intelligence, was spying on President Trump. And this is considered treason. Okay, we are indigenous. Okay. Democrats, yes. The Democrats is no way. I cannot see us continuing to go down this path. Why would we continue to go down this path? If we continue to go down this path, it's to our detriment, and we have to blame ourselves. We will have nobody else to blame but ourselves. So this is why I'm harping on, we got to do something about Black leadership. I don't care who they are. And mind you, when we look at race, this is the one thing that I would like to say to President Trump. When we look at race, for us, the freedmen, the racial social construct is real, right? It's real in that he utilized it to implement a system to hinder the freedmen, right? Our ancestors were emancipated as freedmen, and it aligns with the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments. So yes, I agree with the Supreme Court justices of the United States that the Constitution is race neutral, and our race neutral term that aligns us with the Constitution or status, our race neutral status is freedmen. So we can look at the history. We can tell and spot when they implemented the racial social construct. We can see when after the Civil War, how they implemented the racial social construct against specifically who? The freedmen. It has nothing to do with the Black, what they say on the census, the Black racial groups of Africa. That doesn't even apply because we're not Africans. freedman status. And then you still have us on the census as Black, colored, Negro, right? Now African American, but still I think some of them still put Black. So we can see that throughout history, the racial social construct was only been implemented to harm and injure the freedmen. And in that, that's another reason why we can utilize that as a harm with reparations, because guess what? You're not protecting us utilizing the racial social construct, because now you're allowing immigrants to come into America and claim under race that they too are our people and operating in our identity. This isn't their country, their homeland, first of all. They don't have any ancestral ties to this country. They don't have the culture. They don't have the history here or the plight. So the race doesn't apply to them. So I agree with, let's get rid of race, because we have a status here. And I want us to be able to utilize our status and it aligning as it should with the 14th Amendment. Right? Because then there's no question. There's no question who is who. But now you want to conflate race, use race to conflate our plight, our claims, our history, hence the reason why these beings on this soil claiming America was built by immigrants. Lord, y'all don't know how much that burns me up inside. Okay? But look at this on the screen. Look at here. Now, these are documents that Trump administration been releasing a lot of information lately. They're being transparent. We got to listen, you all. We made a mistake before where we didn't want to trust or believe, but they are being very transparent. And I do believe that Trump wants to make sure people understand what is happening in our government. There is a real live coup d'etat happening in our government via the Democratic Party. So I can't really see this document as clear, but there's here, I'm going to scroll down here where they're talking about James Clapper admitted that Barack Obama personally ordered him and James Comey to orchestrate the Russia hoax. This is the one I'm going to get to. I want you all to hear before we close out. So I'll play this and I want you all to hear what he has to say. So again, it's the top, gonna come down to the bottom. And Trump, he said he was going after the deep state. This is the deep state, you all. This is the corruption. And I would love for our people to quit listening to the MSNBC or anything like that, so they can really understand what's happening. But we know something, the boomers, I don't know what's going on with some of the boomers. But let's go with it. Let's see. I'll play this. I know it may take a moment to get together over here on the YouTube side. But we're going to play. I want you all to hear this. Oh, here we go. Okay. Now let's play this and you hear this.
Of millions of Americans.
Jim Comey and I are part of the group that were tasked by President Obama to put together all the reporting we had on the Russian interference.
Former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper appears to admit the Russia probe was initiated by none other than former President Barack Obama. In a recent CNN interview, Clapper discussed the findings of Special Counsel Robert Mueller, who found no collusion between Russians and President Trump. Clapper suggested he knew there was no collusion as early as in March of 2017, but that didn't stop the mainstream media from spinning false collusion narratives.
And I consistently said we didn't have the evidence at the time contemporaneously, and it was my great hope that the Mueller investigation would resolve that once and for all, and apparently it did.
This is not the first time Clapper makes controversial remarks about the alleged use of national intelligence for political purposes. In his Senate testimony back in 2013, Clapper said the government does not collect data on millions of Americans as part of its foreign intelligence surveillance program. Those claims were later proven by Congress Republicans as untrue.
Does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
No, sir.
It does not.
Not wittingly.
When the truth came out, Clapper claimed he didn't understand the question. Meanwhile, Republican lawmakers say the abuse of FISA court by Obama officials allowed to spy on Carter Page, a key aide to the 2016 Trump campaign. Those FISA warrants, along with the debunked Steele dossier, laid the foundation of what would become the Russia probe.
The Russia witch hunt was a plan by those who lost the election to try and illegally regain power by framing innocent Americans, many of them, they suffered with an elaborate hoax.
Speaking of the Steele dossier, Clapper had something to do with the Democrat-funded opposition research as well. Reports claim the House Intel Committee found Clapper leaked the dossier to CNN during the transition period of late 2016, early 2017. The effort became known as a Democrat insurance policy, which Republicans now want investigated.
Mr. Mueller thoroughly investigated the Trump campaign. You cannot say that about the other side of the story. And what I hope Mr. Barr will do is understand, for the country's sake, appoint somebody outside the current system to look into these allegations.
And President Trump and his attorney Rudy Giuliani agree early stages of the Russia probe must be looked into. But recent revelations suggest the debunked Russia hoax appears to be the greatest political swindle in U.S. history. Christian Rose, One American News.
Jim Comey and I.
Okay, so we're hearing more and more about what on behind closed doors and how they're creating these news stories to go up against Trump administration back in his first presidency, and saying that he was colluding with others, foreign entities outside the United States, right? But guess what? What we do know is Biden-Harris was colluding with China. Yeah. They are colluding with China with our voter information. We know that Venezuela has also come forth with how they were colluding with American officials with voting, with those voting machines, right? So here we have where they say that China was a part of the 2020 election operation, right? They have received our information. And you know, that goes to you. Do you all remember the Cambridge Analytica situation where they talked about how Mark Zuckerberg was able to join them and get information on Black American voters? Do you all remember that? They were literally targeting us. When you go on social media like X, we will have trolls coming to us, talking to us, saying these different things to us because they were attempting to get us in a flux in how we voted in the election. It happened this last time with Trump, and it was also happening in 2020. So this is how they try to play us so that we do not vote for our best interest. And for voting for Trump was in our best interest. Setting the couch was not in our best interest because we're Americans, right? So I just want to highlight this. Saying setting the couch this time in the midterms in this critical moment, Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. Don't get me wrong, some of the candidates we might not like, but gonna have to find something or make sure that you go to those candidates and they add something for our people. And I'm talking about those candidates that are not necessarily those that you align with, except for the Democrats, y'all. Come on. We can't keep doing this. We can't keep doing this. So I'm going to put on the screen where the White House has released their report. They released a report earlier this week about China's inclusion into our election. And they compromised our election data. And that was all under the Biden-Harris administration attempting to win the election. This is the election, how huge the election fraud goes. We know the Chinese are over here spying on us. They're finding all kinds of Chinese spies. We know that the Biden-Harris and a lot of these Democrats have been in bed with the Chinese doing certain things, right? Tim Walz, he always over there in China, from what I understand. We see what he's doing in Minnesota. So y'all, let's look at these things because it's right in front of our faces. And we have to use discernment. It is time for us to step it up in our political arena. That means removing the Black leadership, us vetting those that are running and saying that they support us, and then making sure we hold their feet to the fire. That means if they say they're going to do something for our people, you make sure they do it. And if they don't do it, we can talk offline about what we need to do to make sure that they suffer the consequences. Right? We got to do something. Okay, here it is. They show over a period of years, starting during the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files. Y'all remember Hunter Biden and that laptop? Wasn't Hunter Biden also making sure some arms deals was going on? Wasn't he going to China? Come on now, you all. This is big. This is huge. So let's here we go. I want to get to where they're discussing it. Here we go. They're discussing it here, and then I'll get ready to shut it down. We got a couple more minutes, but let's listen to them talk about the intelligence and what the White House has found and recovered in election fraud.
Well, I think it's a very significant announcement, not only what he said, but the fact that they are releasing these documents so that we can really fact check the claims we heard this evening. I've been digging into the documents already, and I found this November 2020 email. And it specifically states, it's a conversation among intelligence officials. It specifically states that they have, quote, deliberately massaged one of our pending PDBs, that's the president's daily brief, to avoid any direct links to the election. And that is consistent with my reporting. I understand the whistleblower complaint alleged, and I think we're now seeing it in the emails, that there was an intentional effort to suppress intelligence about China's influence operations. And this was, Katie, like a massive effort, what they call a multi-domain operation. That means trade, it means diplomacy, it means open source information, it means social media. So all the levers of power China had to influence the US election.
Okay, y'all heard her. And what did I say? Social media. We experienced it right out on. I could tell something wasn't right. They were coming for us on social media. If you are speaking about certain candidates, especially Trump, there was something wrong. They wanted to come in, they pop in our spaces, right? Disrupt our space. If we're talking about, you know what, Trump's agenda, here's what he can do, or he's saying he's going to do, where we can get something out of it and discussing things like that. They had the trolls come in. This is how they were attempting to impact how we move via our elections and for us to get what is ours. They don't want you to vote in your best interest. They don't want you to support, I'm going to just say it, they don't want you to support Donald J. Trump and his administration because they think they're going to get back in and then make sure all these illegals get amnesty and stay here on your soil and then try to rule over you. And mind you, I'm going to say it, do you all think that America will survive with all of these immigrants that cannot, to me, at this present point in time, they cannot even create, they cannot build, they cannot develop anything, because if they could, they wouldn't be here in America working for these wages. What do you think is going to happen to America? What do you think is going to happen to us and our housing? Because they're attempting to make this a socialist nation or communist. Okay, I think I went over this before. Communism and socialism, what's the difference? Okay, so we're gonna know the difference, because Trump, you'll hear Trump says communism is what is taking place. We see Mondani in New York, right? We know something is not right there. So what's the difference in them? So both of them are essentially economic philosophies advocating for the public rather than private ownership. Well, we already know we go this route where everybody is equal, whereas, you know, we're not supposed to receive anything of our own after we work for it. It goes to everybody. That's literally what they're trying to do now, right? Isn't that not what they're doing? All of our hard work, what we've done, rewards, opportunities, and benefits are going rerouted to immigrants. Isn't that not what's happening right now? That's what I see. And they're in political positions of power. But Trump is saying, no, this is a capitalistic nation. We don't work that way. Let me implement some tariffs so we can make sure that we get money back up in here in America. The immigrants were sending so much money out of this country. How are we to survive that way? So yes, okay, the differences again. Let's see. I'll use this particular. Okay, so differences between communism, capitalism, and socialism. Communism, no private ownership. What are they saying? You will not own anything. No central government. Or you have a central government. Oh, no class distinction. Well, we know that's not true. Right now in America, we do have class distinctions, right? Production for basic needs. Only production for basic needs will you get. So that's basically just housing, food, and shelter. Other than that, you know what? You cannot have the opportunity to go out and be an entrepreneur and make as much money as you want, and you get to dictate, right? Your future. You get to dictate how you move or your decisions, because you don't have that opportunity any longer. And in our Constitution, you have the right to free speech, religion, right? You also have the right to file grievances against your government. That's not going to happen with communism. Okay, so socialism, you have limited private ownership. You have government and private entities. You have a limited class distinction and a production for societal needs. So to me right now, they're already implementing socialism. So now you may have them going far extreme to communism. because they want you to get absorbed. No, they're trying to massage you to accept the socialism, right? You just accept limited private ownership. Limited private ownership means like BlackRock could come in and then they buy up all these homes, and there's no homes for us to buy and own. That's happening right now. You have government and private entities. That's happening right now. We have private entities as a part of our federal government right now. Right? Limited class distinction. Well, they're saying they're getting rid of the middle class. Majority of Black Americans are what? I think we're middle class. We may be lower and some upper middle class. So then you only have the rich or the poor. That's what I'm seeing happening right now. And only production for societal needs. What, production just for food? Just for food, housing, clothing, right? That's it. There, again, no creativity to create anything else and build in technology, because they're going to control everything, right? So capitalism, you know what? At this point in time, it's the system we've been under. We done did this work. We need to reap our benefits. We need to make sure we're in a space where we're in the top of the hierarchy. So I'm going with capitalism because everything here is ours. Okay, total private ownership is capitalism. Market forces, different markets competing against each other. Class distinction. We already have upper echelon, boule, elite, however you want to say it, right? High social status, high social economic status. We have middle class, and even in the middle class, we have upper, middle, lower, and then you have poor, right? Or upper, middle, poor. Class distinctions. These are things we already know. Production for profit. How many of us will be able to own a company or organization and be able to retrieve some profit from it? We're doing it right now. So yeah, I'm not here for any of the socialism and communism, because socialism is trying to keep us in a limited class, right? They're trying to keep us poor. Why do you have everybody else come up in here and act like everything they're entitled to any and everything here, and they never worked for it? And we do have government and private entities. We have our local, state, federal government. We still have some private entities that work with our local, state, and federal government. Government contracts. We do that already, right? So with that, you all, we see how the distinction of the capitalism and socialism is working in America right now. And that is not how America was actually set up. We're supposed to be able to have total private ownership with less government intervention. So at this point in time, we got to make sure we decide on where we're going here in America as Americans. Which direction are we going to take? And I see this current president and administration trying to get us back on track, because a lot of time in the past, a lot of the presidents and administrations were working under that socialism umbrella. Oh, and the next time I'll have to cover how they're tracking the money. Scott Bissett. I'll go over some more things later and what's happening with the Trump administration and how they're attempting to clean up some things so it can make it profitable for us as Americans. But they're battling, you all. They're battling because there's a coup d'etat happening in our federal government, and it trickles down to our state and local government. That's why they're fighting so hard. But with that, y'all, I'm going to sign off because I am going to be joining someone else soon. I will be on TikTok. They invited me to go over on TikTok live and talk about some things in politics as far as us as well getting together. so that we can move and be actionable. So join me over on TikTok. I'm Freeman Descendants. If you see me over there in a space, join it, because we're really attempting to be more active and do some things and make some changes happen. So with that, I'm signing off. I thank you all for joining me this Saturday. I know it may be another couple weeks because I am traveling again. So it may be another couple weeks before I do another live. I'll see how that goes. But it's been great being here with you. Thank you so much for supporting me. I'll see you soon.